Ocean, don't be afraid. The end of the road is so far ahead, it is already behind us. Don't worry, your father is only your father until one of you forgets. Like how the spine won't remember its wings no matter how many times our knees kiss the pavement. Ocean, are you listening? The most beautiful part of your body is wherever your mother's shadow falls. Here is the house with childhood whittled down to a single red tripwire. Don't worry, just call it horizon, and you'll never reach it. Here is today, so jump. I promise it's not a lifeboat. Here is the man whose arms are wide enough to gather your leaving, and here the moment, just after the lights go out, when you can still see the faint torch between his legs. How you use it, again and again, to find your own hands. You asked for a second chance and are given a mouth to empty out of. Don't be afraid. The gunfire is only the sound of people trying to live a little longer and failing. Ocean. Ocean, get up. The most beautiful part of your body is where it is headed. And remember, loneliness is still time spent with the world. Here is the room with everyone in it, your dead friends, passing through you like wind through a wind chime. Here is a desk with a gimp leg and a brick to make it last. Yes, here is a room so warm and so blood close, I swear, you will wake and mistake these walls for skin.
That was Someday I'll Live Ocean Vong by Ocean Vong, read to us by our guest today, Jamie Trower.
Hello!
Hello. Thank you so much for reading that poem.
No problem. Thank you very much for having me.
That was really good. You were raving about Ocean Vong just before we started recording, and yeah, it's really something.
Yeah, he's such a phenomenal poet, novelist, writer. He's amazing. I've been a fan of his for many years, and yeah, he's great.
Why did you choose that poem specifically?
When I first picked up the collection of his Night Sky with Exit Wounds, that was the first poem I read from the collection, and it just stuck in my brain, and his use of words and the imagery is just phenomenal. So when I was asked to choose a poem to read on this podcast, I immediately was drawn to that because it now lives within me, you know. And that's sort of the sign of good poetry to me, when a poem just sticks in your skin, in your brain, for years and years and years, and just doesn't leave you and stays there.
Do you have any other poets that like get under your skin like that?
Oh, so many. Sam Hunt, the legendary New Zealand poet Sam Hunt. Every poem of his, I think, is fantastic and really stays with me. Ocean Vong, obviously. Yeah, so many. Max Porter, even though Max Porter is more of a novelist, he writes in like a hybrid poetic prose sort of way. And whilst reading through his prose, it's as though you're also reading poetry, and just so many sections of his books just stick with me. So Max Porter, even though he's not particularly a poet, he writes like a poet.
I guess like that's the thing, like what is a poet, you know? Like if you think like a poet, write like a poet, you know, maybe you are a poet, even if you're not publishing poetry collections.
yeah, definitely. And there is sort of that fine line between prose and poetry, sort of where you do get the novelists and the prose writers who do sort of almost delve into the poetry and then delve back into prose and then delve into poetry, and it's just a fantastic thing to read and experience when you get presented with that sort of gift, when you read a novel that both screams prose and screams poetry. Yeah.
I mean, you yourself are someone who writes both prose and poetry. I know you write non-fiction prose, obviously, as part of your job.
Yeah.
But do you also write fiction prose?
I've sort of. Recently I have considered writing a novel, and I have like brainstormed a couple of things, and I have tried prose here and there. The problem with me and prose is that I do have quite a short attention span, in the sense of like, I can sort of write a poem and have everything in a poem that a novel has. In the sense of like, I feel creatively fulfilled and all that good sort of stuff. But when I try my hand at writing a novel, I just get bored quite quickly.
I understand that. I understand that very well. Like the thought of writing a novel for me fills me with boredom. And like, I don't know if it's related, and maybe it's like a personality trait, but like when I'm not a huge runner, but when I think about running, like I'm a sprinter. I'm not a long distance, you know, like, and I get the same kind of buzz that runners get from long distance out of sprinting. Like I'll do a short sprint. I'll be like, yeah, cool. There's that.
That's done. On to the next thing.
Exactly. Yeah. But you do write non-fiction prose as part of your job.
Yeah.
How do you feel that your poetry writing feeds into that, or vice versa as well, you know?
It's one of those things really, where sort of in writing the non-fiction prose for my job, I do get to like sprinkle here and there little sort of glimpses of poetry, if you get what I mean. So there is an opportunity with my job in which I can also play poet, if that makes sense. And it is, I love my job so much. I feel like one of the luckiest guys in the world for doing what I do as a job and getting paid for it. Thank you very much to my boss.
Yeah. Can we talk about what your job is? Like, you feel comfortable talking about? Yeah,
absolutely.
So you're a staff writer at M2?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been doing that for the past 5 years, and I write for M2 magazine, which is New Zealand's only men's lifestyle magazine. And there's also M2 Women, which is sort of like M2 but for women.
Yeah.
Obviously. And yeah, I work for both M2 and M2 Women, and I've just been spending the last 5-ish years working for them and doing some really cool things and talking to really cool people, and yeah, just my life is writing, and I love it. It's fantastic. Yeah.
When did you sort of get into writing as thing that you like to do, you know? I guess, like, for most people, it starts off as maybe like a task or a hobby, and now for you it's both like a job and a vocation. So when did that start for you?
So this is actually going to be quite a jumbled sort of answer.
Great.
Because there's lots of layers.
Great,
So
I love that. Let's peel back those layers.
Yeah, like an onion.
Yeah.
So in 2003, I suffered a severe traumatic brain injury. I skied into a rock when I was on holiday with my family. We went down to Mount Ruapehu, and I went up to the second slope with my granddad, and it was just one of those freak sort of accidents. And I then was in a coma for a while, and sort of in the time after the accident and sort of getting back into life almost, I couldn't really do any activities or things that other 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds were doing. I couldn't go outside and kick a football around with my brother. I couldn't really go on the playground that much. So I found solace and sort of my safe space almost in reading and writing down my thoughts. My nan, and my whole family actually really heralded, I'm not even sure that's a word, sort of pushed this love for reading into me, because in all reality I couldn't really do much else. So yeah, I started reading lots in the Wilson home, which is where I went after my accident. And from that love of reading, I just started writing things here and there. I needed to learn how to write again after my accident. So I used sort of just writing little notes or like little stories as sort of my way of reclaiming back my childhood, my identity. So yeah, from that, I then just loved writing, and as the years passed, I got into novel writing, I suppose. I really sort of enjoyed creating my own worlds, and sort of jumping ahead when I was at uni. I took a creative writing 101 course with Selena Tristan-Marsh, and she's
shout out to her.
Yeah, shout out to Selena. She has in the not meaning to sound too fanboy about Selena Tristan-Marsh, she really started off this entire writer's journey for me. She really sparked their interest in poetry inside of me, which I will forever be grateful for her, and she's just fantastic. And yeah, love Selena. So when I was taking that course, there was a 2-week unit on poetry, which sort of I had done poetry at high school, done the Shakespeare thing, looked into Dulce et Decorum Est.
Classic.
Classic sort of high school poetry. So I was like, yeah, this really isn't my thing. But in Selena's sort of teaching the class in which I was part of, sort of how poetry, it can be anything really. It just sparked that interest inside me, and yeah, I started writing poetry, and I even went back and I took the notes that I had written at the Wilson home when I was sort of just after the accident. And I sort of made that into poetry and sort of took sort of what I was feeling and thinking and the isolation of sort of being in the Wilson home and just having had a brain injury and sort of, yeah, and I sort of changed that into poetry and then I sort of went from there.
Whoa. what an incredible thing to do. Was that just like your idea where you were like, I'm going to dive back into these, or was that spurred by?
I like, to be honest with you, I can't really remember, but I can just remember reading all these sort of notes that I made and being like, oh yeah, I was doing, I just finished this creative writing course and I was like, oh yeah, I could do something with these little notes. I could make this into a thing. And yeah, I took the notes and sort of rejudged them almost into my first collection of poetry, which is called Anatomy. And Anatomy follows that time of my life and sort of how yeah, that played out almost. So, yeah.
Incredible. And then where did, I guess, the performance element of your poetry come in?
The performance element it definitely came from like being quite a drama loving person. I love being on stage. I always have really, even before my accident, I danced, I did all the school plays and all that sort of thing. And yeah, so I took English and drama at uni, and yeah, just sort of the performance aspect of poetry had always interested me. Yeah, always loved the performance aspect of it, and as I sort of started with writing the first drafts of Anatomy, I was also really influenced by slam poetry and sort of the button poetry and yeah, just sort of the enthusiasm and the life of it, and sort of looking at these YouTube videos of fantastic poets just standing on stage and saying these really beautiful, meaningful words, and me just being like, yeah, I could very, very much do that.
Yeah, absolutely. So how did that then feed into your involvement with Poetry Live? Because that's primarily how I know you. Like that was sort of like the first gateway to Jamie.
So I first started going to Poetry Live. It would have been 2014-ish. I'd worked. No, actually, I think I'd just published Anatomy. So Anatomy had come out and I was looking at different places that I could go and like feel part of a poetry community in which I could be like, yeah, sweet, these are my people, these are my these are my other poets almost. And I'd just looked around and talked to a couple of people here and there, and I remember people being like, you should go check out Poetry Live. Poetry Live is a fantastic space. So I did, and I just instantly fell in love with it. It's such a cool community. Everyone is so welcoming there. Everyone is so loving and caring. and yeah, I had been going. I haven't actually been in a while. But started Poetry Live probably 2014, 2015, and yeah. They even asked me to be one of their MCs in like 2018, I think it was, and that was fantastic, just being a part of that. They've been going for 40 years.
Really?
Yeah, 40 years. It's New Zealand's longest running poetry community.
Wow.
And yeah, just fantastic. I do love everyone at Poetry Live.
Do you know anything about the history of it, like before you dipped in?
So now I'm being put on the spot because
No, I mean, like, it's okay if you don't. I'm just curious if you do.
Yeah. So I know that it started in 1980 by a guy called David Mitchell, who was quite a well-known New Zealand poet. He wrote a very good poetry collection, a very well-known New Zealand poetry collection called Pipe Dreams and Ponsonby. Oh yeah. And he just started off this poetry meeting, and it just grew and grew and grew. And it's been going, and obviously people come and go, and it just becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's been had so many different venues. It's been up and down Auckland, and yeah, it's very much ingrained in Auckland's creative sort of side, if you get what I mean. It's fantastic. So, yeah, it's good.
At the moment, it's at the Thirsty Dog.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, and it's been there for quite some time.
Yeah. I don't actually know when it got to the Thirsty Dog.
But it was at the Thirsty Dog when you started.
Yeah. So
and that's going on 9 years now. So
yes, it is. Fuck it out. Yeah. Yeah, that's very true.
And what day of the week do they meet at the moment?
So Tuesday night at 8 o'clock, Thirsty Dog, K Road. They have they start off with a guest musician, and then the first half of open mic, and then the guest poet, and then the second half of open mic. It's just such a lively, loving, fun, coming up with all the adjectives, community, and it's brilliant. I owe Poetry Live an awful lot. It shapes every writer that goes through its doors. You know, it's whether you're a first-time reader or a professional, sort of been reading for years type of poet, they welcome everyone with open arms, and it's just fantastic. Yeah,
cool. I'm really glad that you're sharing that, because like I feel like because of who I personally am, so much of my experience of performance poetry in Auckland is so dramatically skewed to people who gravitate to slam and competitive poetry. You know, even though that's not actually necessarily where I feel that my poetry personally thrives. Like I'm not sure that a competitive space is the best space for my poems, but that's just sort of like the community that I'm part of. So it's really cool to hear what people are doing outside of that space in a performance capacity as well. Yeah. A question that just came to me is your Instagram handle is Jamie Birdboy. Yeah. And also the press house that you're starting up is called Birdboy Press. Yeah. Tell me, what is Birdboy? What's this?
Okay, so Birdboy is the central character of my second poetry collection, which is called A Sign of Light. It came out in 2018 under the Cuba Press. shout out to those guys, they're fantastic. Mary McCallum and Paul Stewart, Sarah Bolland, down in Wellington.
Shout out to all of those people.
Shout out to that team. They are fantastic human beings, and I love them to bits. And yeah, so A Sign of Light came out in 2018, and it sort of centralizes around this character of Birdboy. And Birdboy is a bit of me, a bit of the reader, a bit of everyone. And I actually have Birdboy tattooed on my arm.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm he lives inside all of us, I think. Does Birdboy. And yeah, and then when I came up with the thought of maybe starting up my own publishing thing, I was like, Birdboy, why not?
Yeah. I mean, it's got a ring to it.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit more about the, I guess, like press house or publishing house that you're starting up?
Yeah. So, I got the thought, it was a very, not brief thought, it was sort of like a 5-minute, oh yeah, that'd be a good way to waste time sort of thing. Like, oh yeah, I could do that. Probably won't happen, but...
The classic artist's thought, that's a great way to waste time.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I had that 5-minute sort of brain fart almost. When I was planning on publishing my third collection, self-publishing it, I was like, well, I'm gonna have to, like, I don't know, publish it under something. Why not my own publishing house? And from there, sort of, the idea became more and more appealing to me, really. I had put Rust Belt to being published under Birdboy Press. And then I was like, well, why don't I just made this into a full thing? And yeah, I sort of, after Rust Belt, I thought more and more about it, and I was like, I can remember the feeling that I had when Anatomy first came out in 2015, and when I first opened that box of books and I looked at my words on paper, really, and just that feeling I will probably never forget. It was one of the best feelings in the world. I can't even explain it to you right now. So now I want to use Birdboy Press as a way to share that feeling with other writers and sort of allow them to go through the process with me of, like, getting their books published and feel it, and them being able to open that box of books for the first time for them, and getting that feeling, because as published writers, as any published writer will sort of can agree with me on, whenever you see words that have taken refuge in your brain out in the world, it's a completely different sort of thing. It is, one of the best feelings in the world. And I hope that through Birdboy Press I can sort of help people feel that, you know?
Did you come up against many, I guess, sort of like rejections on the way of getting your stuff published with other people first? Because I feel like that's like a common yarn that
Yeah.
that we all face is the rejection of like submitting stuff and getting rejected as well.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, yeah, anatomy definitely was one of those things where I'd come up with the first couple of drafts of the manuscript, and yeah, got an awful lot of rejections and like submitting into journals almost. I've gotten a couple of rejections from there. Um, it is one of those things, as any creative person can sort of agree with me on it. Any sort of rejection is part of it, but then again, it makes you so much stronger. It allows you to sort of go off and work on your craft.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because like I feel like there's rejection. Like you think about the rejections that you get for like, I guess, for example, job rejections, and things where people are rejecting, I guess, like a version of you that is
Yeah.
like marketable. But so much of rejection in an art space can so quickly feel like you're being rejected, like a core part of who you are is being rejected as well. Do you know?
Yeah, I know
And I'm
exactly
thinking
what you
about
mean.
anatomy.
Yeah.
You know, like when that gets rejected, it's kind of like someone's rejecting the story of you as a 10-year-old.
Oh,
You know?
bro. Yeah, it's that was a whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much so. I can remember the rejection letters I got for anatomy, and it just yeah, that was a whole thing. Yeah, but then it's one of those things where I knew in my core being that it is a unique story, and it is I really felt that a part of me that I needed to share needed to be shared, if you get what I mean. So I just kept on at it, and yeah, Mary from Birdboy Press got back to me, and then the rest is history. And yeah, I joined them, and they're fantastic.
Yeah, great. I guess you're on the flip side now, being the publisher, where you're going to have to like
Yeah.
make decisions about like what gets published and what doesn't.
Yeah.
What's, I guess, like some of the kaupapa behind Birdboy Press? Like what kind of work excites you? And yeah.
Work that excites me is work that is fresh, is honest, is truthful, um, uh, but also has teeth. Is a bit um is a bit flawed almost. Is sort of not 100% polished. And yeah, I'd like even trying to answer this question is hard because I personally don't know what type of stuff I'm looking for with Birdboy Press. I might have read it in some submissions that have come in. Thank you to the people who have already submitted to Birdboy Press, by the way. But it might be stuff that I still have yet to read, if you get what I mean. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I'm looking for with Birdboy Press, but it's yeah. Yeah, I don't know what I'm looking for.
You'll know it when you see it.
Yeah, when I see it. Yeah, definitely.
But I guess it's also, that's the thing, like, because this is your first time accepting submissions, you're sort of like growing as a publisher as well, and like growing to understand like the sort of things that you are looking for.
Yeah, definitely. like, I'm looking at the whole Birdboy Press journey for me as being like a journey of growth, and not so much as a publisher, but in myself, in the fact that I've already given myself talks, which I'm like, if this doesn't work, I'm not going to be heartbroken over it. So, like, yeah, it is just a step-by-step sort of thing in which it might not work. If it doesn't, that's fine. At least I've given it my all. But I hope it does. And yeah. I don't know if that just answered your question or
Yeah,
not.
it does. It totally
I
does.
feel like I'm rambling.
No. It definitely answers my question. I was just thinking I'd jump back a little bit because we're thinking a lot about the written word, and I'm thinking also about performance and how you were talking about how you've always been like a lover of drama and the stage and theatre. Apart from, I guess, semi-occasionally performing your poetry. What other opportunities do you get in your, like, is that still something that you explore in your day-to-day life?
Performance or performance poetry?
Performance generally.
Performance generally. Well, as Shakespeare so eloquently put, all the world's a stage. So, oh my God. Fucking hell.
Very good.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I'll leave. In answering, I'd obviously poetry, whether I'm doing performance poetry, one of my performance poems, or just reading off a piece of paper while standing on a stage. I'm performing. I've very recently, and nothing has come of this yet, but I hope something does. I recently got myself an acting agent. Which I'm like, again, sort of like the Birdboy Press thing. I'm sort of like, well, I'm going to put my foot forward and do this and see what happens. If it all turns to shit, then it turns to shit. So yeah, I got myself an acting agent, not with the sort of the thought of like, yes, I'm gonna make it on Shoreland Street. I'm just got myself an acting agent to be like, well, why not? You know, it's I'm just seeing what's out there. So yeah, I'm sort of using that performance aspect of poetry with the performance poetry, and I'm dipping my toes back into the acting pond with the agent, and
great.
And yeah,
that's still integrating it into your life a fair bit.
Yeah,
I think about myself at high school, and I think my sort of, I don't know if other people had this, but I always had like a dream job, and then the job that I was probably going to go for. And at high school, the job I was probably going to go for was like something to do with psychology. That didn't happen, but whatever. And my dream job was an actor. And I just loved drama. Drama was like absolutely my favorite subject. It was, it was like a chance to sort of like be myself and be someone else, and you know, like just like really explore everything about like what it meant to be human, which I think when you're a teenager especially is like just like so important.
So important.
But then after I left high school, that kind of just like dropped off the wayside, and like I never really revisited it. And I wonder how many people that happens for, where like that, I don't know, I guess that kind of like playful spark kind of just like drops off, you know? So it's cool that you're like delving back into it.
Yeah.
Did you do drama at high school?
Oh yeah, definitely. My drama teacher, Mr. Roberts, Mr. Alan Roberts, shout out to him. Yeah, shout out to Mr. Roberts. he was and will continue to be the best teacher I ever had.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was one of those teachers that sort of stick with you. And yeah, just I love drama so much, and drama class is a family. We were all drama kids, so yeah, it was fantastic. Loved drama in high school.
Yeah, and I feel like that element of like it being a family is sort of like what we seek out when we seek out, like, I guess, poetry or artist communities as well, you know, like we're looking
that
for
connection.
that. Yeah, 100%. And a chance to just like play around with stuff, like, you know, like I feel like sometimes with poetry you just, like last night I was at the Love Slam last night, and like sometimes people read stuff and it's just like you can tell they're just like so trying this out, like it's just like just gonna read in front of people and see what happens, you know. And like, where else in your life as an adult do you get to do that? Do you really just get to sort of like...
That is such a good point.
Like throw things around, and I would really love to have like more... I guess like, you know how people do night classes and like stuff like that? I would love to bring back theatre sports for like adults.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Theatre sports. That's a throwback.
Oh my gosh. I just feel like theatre sports was like the ultimate place where people would just like, you just so have to let go of any sort of pretense, you know?
Yeah.
And like, that's what I like. I feel like poetry and poetry performance goes part of the way of like having the safety of the community, having a safe space where you feel like you can mess around and just like be silly, and also like the format of like things being relatively low stakes, but enough pressure for you to like want to try something new, but it's not quite as playful as theatre sports ever was, you know. Theatre sports was just such a like, it was a game, you know.
Yes, the theatre sports was brilliant. And that's the great thing of, I suppose, tying it into poetry communities, in which first-time readers can get up on stage, and as you just said before, so like they're standing there and they're like, well, I guess I'm on stage right now. I should say words from a page. Fuck. And but poetry communities, especially in New Zealand, they're just so welcoming and so cool. And just like the other sports, and the fact of like a group of adults and mature people standing together, they don't know what's going to happen. They don't know like if it's going to be gold or whether it's going to be an absolute train wreck. But people are just supportive.
Yeah. That's 100% true. That people in New Zealand in the poetry community are just so, in all poetry communities that I've like dipped my toes into, are just so incredibly supportive. Yeah. So even if your poem kind of like bombs, if so to speak, like everybody's still like, yes, that was amazing. Thank you for sharing your words. Like, exactly. So good.
Yeah.
Which again is really unique. I was comparing it because a real common pipeline for poets, especially in Wellington, but it happens in Auckland as well. A real common pipeline is to go via poetry to comedy. Yeah. Which I love. I think poets are very funny people. But comedy, the stakes are so much higher. Like when you get up on stage and you're like, I'm a comedian, I'm going to do a comedy set, everybody in the audience is like, make me laugh. So if you don't make them laugh, it's horrible. Comedy audiences are so mean. Like, really? Really think about it. People are like heckling and like, you know,
true.
It's like, that's what scares me about comedy, is that it doesn't feel like a space where I can just like play around with things, and like if I don't make the audience laugh, I have failed. You know? No. So it's like, it's a different sort of like, I guess there's different stakes. But I also wonder if it's like a cultural thing in the poetry community as well in New Zealand. Like I haven't been to poetry communities in any other country. Have you?
am casting my mind back. I feel like I have, but at the same time, I feel like I'm just making it up if I say that I have, you know? I don't know, I might have done.
Yeah.
But from what I have either heard or seen, and this is no shade, no shade. It's and Kiwis and New Zealanders are very laid back. We all know that. So like poetry communities in other countries, I have heard.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly trying to dig myself out of a hole that I'm currently digging. Is that they're more like clicky.
Oh yeah. I can see how that could happen. Yeah. I don't think we really necessarily have cliques. The thing is, we do have distinct poetry communities in New Zealand. I mean, in Auckland generally, but like I don't think that we're necessarily like cliquey. I don't think anybody's ever like coming to the slam and being like, oh my god, poetry love, did you hear about this? Like nobody, you know. It's just like, cool, you find wherever you feel comfortable and you do you know, like whatever.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but I think we're really lucky to have like such a supportive space. It is incredibly unique to just be in a place where everybody just sort of like celebrates you. And like also something I was thinking about last night, I don't know if this is the case for Poetry Live, but like everybody who's doing stuff for the slam is like largely volunteering. Sometimes we get a little bit of funding, but like not much. It's like mostly just people are keen to get involved.
Yeah,
you know?
People keen to get involved, and it's bringing themselves and everyone being so welcoming and so inviting and so loving, and it's good.
Is because my family's not from New Zealand.
Yeah.
Is your family from, like, when I say not from New Zealand, I mean like my family immigrated to New Zealand before I was born.
Yeah.
What about your family?
So we're all from England.
I did clock an accent.
Yes. Yes, there is an accent. So yeah, they came over from. We did actually. So came over to New Zealand when I was 1, maybe 2. And yeah, been on the North Shore ever since. I do have a bit of an accent. Because after my accident, my family had to teach me how to speak again. So and because they've all sort of got their accent still, I picked the accent back up again, which is a weird thought to me even now.
So did you not have as much of an accent before your accident?
Apparently no. Apparently I was quite a Kiwi kid. So yeah, now I've got sort of a hybrid Kiwi, somewhat oddly British sort of lilt to my accent, which is weird, but it makes me feel more unique.
Yeah, absolutely. What part of the shore did you grow up on?
The North Shore.
But what part?
Oh,
I'm an Aucklander. You need to be specific.
Maringi Bay.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Nice. That's. I mean, it's interesting. Maringi Bay's been through like a significant. I think it's changed significantly in the last like 10 to 15 years.
Yeah.
But they've got like a cute little art centre there, and
yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah. Is there any poetry stuff that happens on the shore? Because like most of the stuff that I know is either like central, west, or south.
Yeah. There is the poetry slam, and they have a Takapuna library with Ken.
Oh, the stand-up poetry.
Yeah, stand-up poetry.
Yeah. The
Yeah,
sup.
yeah,
Sup. Yeah,
the sup one.
Yeah.
That's,
I feel like there's a niche for a community though. Like,
yeah.
If anybody's
definitely.
listening and is like, oh yeah, I want to do some poetry on the shore.
You
know.
There we go.
There you go. Find yourself a niche. Yeah, absolutely. Did you? But I mean, like, you didn't really get into poetry much until you were older. Were you exposed to much poetry or even writing generally when you were like very young? Because I mean, like, obviously your grandma instilled you with reading. Was that like a big part of your family generally, like reading and literature and stuff like that?
Reading has always been a big thing.
Yeah.
And I just, I suppose, got into writing seriously only after my accident, because I had to learn how to do it again, and sort of that's where I found sort of words, if you know what I mean.
This is going to feel like a really personal question, but I'm really curious.
Like, I love personal questions. I live off personal questions.
This feels like it's not personal enough now.
Oh God.
I was just going to ask, like, what is, I guess, like, the background of your family? Like, for example, my family, my dad worked in IT and was also a teacher, and my mum trained as a teacher for children with disabilities. Like, that's sort of like where my background came from. So the fact that because I was a teacher before my current job, so the fact that I went into teaching wasn't like all that surprising. So I'm curious, like, what your family background is.
Family background, I'm going to have to cast my mind back. So, Mum, up till, God, I will have to cast my mind back. Mum, up until, not a couple of years ago, had always been a stay-at-home mum. It's especially around my accident, because she needed to sort of be with me, really, and like going through the rehab with me and stuff like that. Shout out to Jo, who is a lovely, lovely woman, and I do love my mum an awful lot. She recently got married to her partner of, I think, five-ish years, Mike. Shout out to Mike as well. And yeah, she's fantastic. I do love Mum. And yeah, so she had been a stay-at-home mum. And now she works as a receptionist at Chelsea Primary School in Birkenhead on the North Shore. My dad, who now lives down in Christchurch, with his wife Penny, who's fantastic. Shout out to Dad and Penny, and Trekker and Rufus, who are their dogs. Sorry, so many shout outs now. I'm gonna have to do a shout out to Tilly, who's Mum and Mike's dog.
Oh, cute. So your background is that you come from a dog family.
Yeah. Dog family. And yeah, Dad has been working for Vodafone now for a while, and like used to work in telecom, and quite a techie sort of guy. And yeah, it was very much since my accident that
But also came from your grandma.
Yeah. Nanny and Granddad are fantastic human beings. I love them all. I love my whole family. And yeah, my nan very much helped me with sort of like the reading and the writing and
finding a world in words.
Finding world and words. And Granddad, like, helped me in so many ways, in the fact of like he did physio with me after my accident. We're like Tweedledum and Tweedledee, two peas in a pod, me and Grandad.
So
cute. He's amazing human. And yeah, it's
cool.
Yeah.
So your current situation, like many people around our age, is that you're flatting at the moment.
Yes.
Yeah. What's the flatting scenario like?
So currently I am living with my best friend. Shout out to Shanna.
Is it the Shanna that
yeah,
this book Rust Belt is dedicated to?
Yes, it is.
Oh my gosh.
It is the exact one.
Incredible.
She's brilliant.
Shout out to Shanna.
Yeah, shout out to Shanna. Star, yay! And yeah, so I'm currently living with Shanna, and it's just us two, and we're living in a house in like Glenfield way,
cool.
you know,
Yeah.
Auckland. And yeah, we've been living there for 5-6 months, and it's chill. It's
Great.
really good. It's
Cool.
our little house and our little space.
That's cool. That's great. Shout out to the cost of living, which
Yeah,
means that
cost of living.
I was watching a movie the other day from the 90s,
Yeah.
which had the two main characters. One was a food writer and the other one was a sports writer.
Oh.
And they both just had like their own apartments.
Yo,
and I'm like,
chill.
And I'm like, how can you be a writer and have your own apartment? You know, like the 90s were a different time.
That's not right.
You know, like the thought of,
those were the days.
Those are the days where you could pay your rent with your income.
With your writing income.
Yeah.
Ha ha ha.
Yeah, wild times. Yeah, unfortunately, writers never really earn much money, do they? I mean, like, not at all to like shit on your job or your boss or anything like that. I'm sure they compensate you well and you're very grateful. But just like generally, writing as a job doesn't pay well.
It's very much a sort of you do it because you love it.
Yeah, 100%.
Like unless you're massively successful and your book sells really well.
Yeah.
You're doing it for the love.
Yeah.
Yeah, and doing it for the millions and millions that you're not going to make. Especially in poetry, actually. You need to hit that market perfectly, and it has to be the right time. Like the right sort of weather, even. It could be raining and the wind could be blowing in a specific direction. And only then can you sustain yourself being a poet.
Yeah, exactly. The stars have to align.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. I mean, I'm now thinking of like 2 or 3 people that I know that do like live as poets and like shout out to them. I'm not gonna name them, but shout out to them.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, the people who I know who I consider as like living as poets don't get their income purely from their poetry as such. They're also doing like teaching or workshops or like or like any sort of like thing that goes around that, you know, like they're often making their money off, I guess, like creating community around poetry or like sharing the knowledge rather than the poetry necessarily itself. Like they are making money from the poetry and the book sales and stuff like that, but that's not their primary source of income. So I think that's, sorry listeners, you're not going to make any money off poetry. But I guess it's not newsflash. So but you've got your book here, Rust Belt.
Yes.
Which I've had in my hands a number of times, but I don't think I actually have a copy. I don't think I have a copy of it.
I'm reaching for my bag now.
But can you tell us a little bit more about Rust Belt?
Okay. So Rust Belt is my third poetry collection, and it sort of was one of those things that I wrote during COVID. As many creative people, as many poets, as many writers will agree with me on, Rust Belt not Rust Belt, what was it called? COVID, the worldwide pandemic. It was so isolating for creative people. It was so like you needed to just create your own world within a world that was. And nobody knew what was happening, especially in the absolute fucking crux of COVID. So, yeah, Rust Belt was sort of my way to keep myself grounded. So, yeah, I wrote the first couple of drafts of Rust Belt, and then I noticed a weird sort of movement, whether it be in the way the poems were arranged or whether it be in the line or the language use or whatever, that sort of resembled this weird iambic pentameter.
Bring back Dolce et Decorum.
Oh, yeah, thank you. So yeah, just getting that rhythm, that da-dum, which I'd think was, I was Googling something completely random, and I came upon trains, and I was like, trains, da-dum, that rhythm in the line sort of sounds a bit like trains on a train track. And again, I had read a article online about the Rust Belt, which is the sort of like an interlocking system of train tracks in the US, which goes through quite like beaten down towns and like quite a lot of social and economic sort of decline. And I thought that was a really interesting idea to sort of look into. And yeah, I sort of took that idea and made my own train tracks using New Zealand and COVID and my own personal sort of life journey struggles as sort of a way to sort of wrap it all up and sort of tie a bow on it and all that.
Interesting that you used a form of transport, a form of public transport, as your sort of like method to help you with the isolation of having to stay at home.
Yeah, and I suppose even in that, it's sort of that's sort of like an interesting connection almost of what I tried to present in Rust Belt. That when it was written during COVID, that it is about travel. It is about going down that line. It is about sort of going to your quote unquote paradise and sort of what will the future look like and all that sort of bollocks. But yeah, you know, it was a fun thing for me to do, and it kept me busy during COVID, and yeah, I'm very, very, very proud of it. It sort of released it / announced it at the start of this year. It's already in some bookshops, it's in libraries, so it's getting out there, and yeah.
Cool.
It's my new little baby, which I'm
great.
Very proud of.
I absolutely. People can't see it right now, but they can see it if they look it up or find it in their local bookstore. But it's this beautiful, like, I guess like a mustard yellow with then like a rust orange on it, which is just so beautiful. I really like those colors together. So.
Oh, cool! Thank you. I did this cover on PowerPoint. So,
I love that. It's so good.
you know, and saying that I appreciate that you like the cover. I really appreciate that
That's
you like
just
the
so
cover.
good. I feel like that's coming back to New Zealand poets just being resourceful.
Thanks,
Yeah.
it's
Very good. Very good.
It's DIY, which is what I really
It's great.
like.
Well, you can't tell. It looks very good. It looks very polished.
Oh,
So yeah.
thank you.
Polished rust belt.
Yes. Hey.
Okay, well, would you like to share a poem from it?
Yes,
Okay,
I would
great.
love to. Now, to be completely honest with you, I didn't choose a poem to
Ooh.
read, so this is gonna be
You can take your time.
okay, cool. Actually, I am going to read a poem called Falling Into. Yeah. This poem is called Falling Into from Rust Belt. We're falling and haven't stopped spooning since last week. We're walking on cutlery and eating that sweet with our hands. Oh, that this too solid flesh would melt. I want to melt around your tender pink lips and use my tongue to drink. I want to take you like a mirror-tipped back. I want to hear your rhythm and eat you to remind myself what sort of animal I really am. For skin, to recall skin and rename that lust again. I want us to be more than this. I want us to take control in being dismantled and use our tongues to guilt ourselves into good. I say guilt and really mean the measure and force to break that pleasure to touch or to be touched, to reach down and cut the sound, but it is only in the silence that we choke ourselves. Quiet. I'll say your name, how you like it. We lower ourselves onto the rug, how the fabric can peel from skin so easily it almost feels rewritten. Our human bodies sound like a double barrel cocked and steadied to buck. But break my heart, for I must hold my tongue. We bring the knives and forks together to come, to feed.